So today I'm going to be taking a look at a classic drum machine. I'm going to be doing a review of the Alesis SR16. This is certainly a very well-known and popular drum machine. It was manufactured for many years. It was used by many famous musicians, and certainly a lot of home studio musicians like myself have used it extensively ever since it was released in the early 90s. So I will be taking a look at all the pros and cons of this drum machine and kind of going through why it is such a classic and also taking a look at some of its drawbacks. So to tell you a little bit about the SR16, it was first produced in 1990 and it very quickly became the drum machine of choice for many artists. I'm quite sure that Michael Jackson himself used this drum machine. The very first few tom hits that you hear in his song, The Way You Make Me Feel, I'm quite sure that's an Alesis SR16. This machine was so popular that it was actually produced from 1990 all the way up to 2003. And in that time, they sold thousands and thousands of units worldwide. Just to give you a few specs on this drum machine, it was 16-voice polyphony. For the drum sounds, there was a total of 233 sounds. You could have 50 kits, 50 user kits, along with 50 preset. For patterns, you could have 400 patterns, and that was comprised of 200 user and 200 preset, with a 12,000 note capacity. For effects, you had panning, dynamic articulation. Some of the samples had reverb and ambience built into them. The pads were touch sensitive. There were actually 12 velocity sensitive pads. There was full MIDI. And also there was the ability for sound stacking, step editing, and the BPM went from 20 to all the way up to 255 beats per minute. Now, I've heard a lot of people criticize this machine for basically sounding too much like a drum machine, and that was one of its biggest problems. Many people complained that the SR16 had a very stiff kind of inorganic sound to it. Well, I can certainly see their point. From the time I bought my SR16, I certainly found it to be a very boxy, kind of stiff-sounding drum machine. But depending on what application you're using it for, that can be one of its biggest strengths. Years ago, I composed and recorded a techno album, and I can tell you that for techno music, this drum machine was perfect. It's the very nature of it. Its very sort of plasticness and stiffness sort of made it a great machine for that genre of music. So in that sense, I found it to work very well. But overall, it's a very good drum machine. There's a reason why it was such a classic, and there's a reason why it sold so many units. If you do happen to find one of these, pick it up. It's definitely a classic that you'll be happy to add to your collection. It might not be a machine that you go to all the time, but I certainly find that I use it on many of my recordings. I bought mine secondhand off of eBay. I believe I paid about $77 US for it, so I definitely got a very good deal. My SR16 is in near mint condition. On the back of the unit, it's fairly straightforward. One of the things I loved about the SR16 is that it has two sets of outputs. So you have a main left and right, and also an auxiliary left and right. So the great thing about that is you had the ability to run the signal to more than one sound processor at a time. And it was also great to have one output maybe going to a effects deck and having also the signal being completely dry. You had MIDI in along with MIDI out and through. You had a tape in and out jack, so you could send data to a tape and also load it back into the SR16 from tape. And you had a couple of foot switch inputs. It was AC 9 volt. Again, a very versatile and very good drum machine that many people certainly got a lot of use out of. that's my review of the Alesis SR16 drum machine. Definitely a drum machine that stands up to its classic reputation. Again, they are certainly a very good drum machine. If you happen to find one secondhand in good condition, definitely pick it up and give it a try. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time. Please, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. We would love to have you join our little family. Please leave a comment in the comment section. Give us a thumbs up. That's always appreciated. And we'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.